In the heart of the bustling city of Brookhaven, there stood a half-finished apartment complex that everyone avoided. It was an eerie skeleton of concrete and steel, its windows empty and dark, like hollow eyes watching the streets below. The building had been abandoned for years, ever since rumors spread about what happened inside. The man behind it all was Victor Crane, a wealthy businessman with a sinister reputation. No one knew the full extent of his dealings, but whispers followed him everywhere. Whispers of dark rituals, of children disappearing, of a hunger that no amount of money could satisfy. Victor was a ritualist, a man who believed wealth could be summoned through the sacrifice of innocence. And so, he lured children with promises of candy and games, taking what he wanted in secret. One little girl, Anna, was different. She was clever and curious, and Victor thought she would make the perfect offering. He told her the building was a magical place where she could sell her bananas and become rich beyond her wildest dreams. Anna believed him. But the building was not what it seemed. On a cold, foggy night, Victor tricked Anna into entering the unfinished structure, then sealed her inside a hidden chamber deep beneath the concrete floors. She was never seen again. Years passed. The building finally completed, and tenants began moving in, unaware of the dark secret buried beneath their feet. At first, strange things started happening. Lights flickered without explanation. Shadows danced in corners where no one stood. Doors slammed shut with no wind to blame. Then, at midnight, a soft voice would echo through the hallways. Come and buy your banana. Come and buy your banana. One night, Mark, a shop owner in the building, was closing up when he heard the faint call. Curious, he stepped into the hallway. There, gliding just out of clear sight, was the shadow of a little girl carrying a tray of ripe bananas. "Bro, will you buy a banana?" The voice was distant but chilling. Mark blinked, and the shadow vanished. Later at home, he told his wife, Laura, "I swear I saw someone with a tray of bananas at midnight. It felt so real." Laura frowned. "Mark, it's probably just your imagination." But Mark couldn't shake the feeling of dread. Over the next few weeks, tenants began falling ill mysteriously. Shops lost money inexplicably. Unexplained accidents happened more frequently. Panic grew. The tenants banded together to investigate and discovered the horrifying truth. The building was cursed, haunted by the restless spirit of Anna, trapped and seeking justice. As fear spread, one by one, the tenants fled, leaving the building deserted. Victor, meanwhile, enjoyed his wealth, oblivious to the hunt that had begun, and the vengeful little girl who was coming for him. Victor Crane had grown fat with wealth. His mansion on the outskirts of the city was filled with art he didn't understand, gold he didn't need, and silence he had long mistaken for peace. But silence can be deceptive. On the night the last tenant fled the haunted building, Victor stood by his wide glass window, sipping brandy. Lightning cracked the sky. Thunder rolled in the distance. And then, he heard it. Faint. Barely audible. But unmistakable. "Bro, will you buy banana?" He froze. The glass in his hand slipped and shattered on the floor. What the hell? He turned quickly. Nothing. Just the rain against the window. He shook his head, trying to calm his racing heart. Too much brandy, he told himself. But as he turned to leave the living room, his foot stepped on something soft. He looked down. A ripe banana. Fresh. Still warm. Sitting on his Persian rug. He stumbled back, horror spreading across his face. The lights in the house flickered. The air grew thick, heavy, like something ancient was holding its breath. That night, Victor didn't sleep. Every corner of the house seemed to breathe. Every mirror reflected shadows that didn't belong to him. And at exactly midnight, the voice came again. This time, from inside the house. "Brew, will you buy my banana?" Victor ran to the door and yanked it open, only to find no one there. But just outside his door, lined up neatly on the welcome mat, were 3 bananas. Perfectly arranged. Fresh. Wet from the rain. He locked every door. closed every curtain. But you cannot lock out a ghost that knows your name. He wasn't safe anymore. Back in Brookhaven, the deserted building stood quiet, but not empty. Inside, the little girl's laughter echoed through the hallways. Banana, sweet banana, come and buy. A group of local boys dared each other to enter the building. With their phones out, they stepped into the dark lobby, whispering nervously. "Let's go to the top floor," one said. "They say she shows up there." As they ascended, the air grew colder. On the third floor, one of them screamed. A tray of bananas sat neatly in front of a door. A girl's shoe rested beside it. And scratched into the wall in small, trembling letters was, "I just wanted to sell my banana." They fled. One of them never spoke again. Meanwhile, Victor was unraveling. He tried everything. Priests, pastors, spiritualists. No one could help him. At night, the voice grew louder. "Come and buy your banana. Bio, come and buy your banana." Her shadow walked across his mirrors. Her tray slid across the hallway on its own. And sometimes, she'd whisper by his ear, "I thought you said I would be rich." One night, his driver entered to find Victor screaming at the empty air, throwing money on the ground. "Take it. Take it. Just leave me alone." He was losing his mind. But Anna wasn't after his sanity. She was after his soul. Victor Crane no longer slept. Every clock in his mansion had stopped at 12 a.m. He smashed them all, every ticking, blinking, digital and antique clock. But time no longer mattered. Midnight came anyway. And with it, her. Sometimes she stood at the foot of his bed, a tray of bananas in her hands. Her eyes, hollow and wet with tears. Her dress, stained with the dust of death. Her voice, soft. Too soft. "Come and buy your banana. Will you buy banana? Buy your banana." Victor would scream and crawl back, but she never chased him. No, she just stood there, waiting. He stopped taking calls. He fired all his staff. The mansion grew silent, lifeless, just like the building he sacrificed her in. The banana peel began to appear in the strangest places. On his pillow, in his bathtub, inside his wallet, and once, inside his mouth when he woke up choking in the dark. He spat it out, gasping, crying, retching on the cold floor. That was the night he knew. He was being hunted. Not by a ghost, but by justice. Across town, an investigative journalist named Tosha Morgan had picked up whispers of the abandoned building. Former tenants told her wild stories of the crying girl at midnight. Most people brushed it off as superstition. But Tosha wasn't like most people. She snuck into the building one evening, recorder in hand. The halls were silent. The air was dense, and every step felt like it echoed louder than it should have. On the second floor, she found a sealed room with a collapsed wall. And behind that wall, bones. Small bones. A child's dress. And a rusty tray, with banana peels crumbling into dust. She turned to run, but a girl stood behind her. Not a ghost. A vision. Anna. Tears in her eyes. Dirt on her face. She opened her mouth and whispered, "Tell them. I didn't lie. I only wanted to sell banana." The vision vanished. But the message was clear. Tosha's documentary shook the city. She linked the child's disappearance to Victor Crane's land records, proving he owned the building when Anna vanished. Police reopened the investigation. Social media exploded. The banana ghost was trending. People lit candles outside the cursed apartment. Some left bananas on the steps. Some cried. But not Victor. Victor was in his mansion, surrounded by mirrors covered in cloth and walls smeared with chalk incantations. His hands trembled. His eyes sunken. His wealth couldn't save him now. That night, for the first time in years, he tried to pray. "Please. I didn't know. I didn't mean to. God, please." But the lights went out. His generator died. And in the silence, He heard it. Soft footsteps, wet from the rain. A tray sliding gently across the marble floor. And her voice, behind him, closer than ever before. "Bro, will you buy banana?" He turned slowly, tears already streaming down his face. She was right there, face to face. Dead, but not gone. And tonight, she didn't want money. She wanted him. Victor couldn't scream. His throat locked up the moment he met her eyes. Deep, empty pools of sorrow and rage. Anna stepped forward slowly, her bare feet leaving no trace, yet the floor groaned beneath her. The tray of bananas trembled in her small hands, though her expression never changed. "You said I would be rich," she whispered. "You lied to me, bro." Victor collapsed to his knees, sobbing. "I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please, please, don't take me." Anna knelt before him, lifting the tray. "Pick one." Victor shook his head violently, crawling backward. "No, please, please, I didn't mean to." But his body betrayed him. His hand lifted on its own. Fingers trembling, he reached for a banana. As soon as he touched it, the tray turned to ash. And so did he. A howl erupted through the mansion. Not of pain, but of soul-tearing terror. His skin darkened, cracked like dried earth. His gold melted into the floor. His paintings burned from the inside out. And by morning, Victor Crane was gone. All that remained was a single untouched banana on the polished floor. And his empty clothes, folded neatly by the window. 1 week later, the mansion was sealed off. Nobody would go near it. Not even the police. But one morning, a jogger passing the gate swore he heard it. A faint voice. "Come and buy your banana. Fresh banana. Sweet banana." And by the gate was a small girl's shoe. Legend says the spirit of Anna still walks both the mansion and the abandoned building. She doesn't haunt out of evil, but out of justice. Out of betrayal. Out of pain. And when midnight comes, if you ever hear a little voice say, "Bro, will you buy banana?" do not turn around. Do not answer. And whatever you do, don't take the banana. Please like and subscribe.